This video is intended for educational use only. The group is allowing the instructor, Mr. Roldan Ardines, to use this video as an educational material. No copyright infringement is intended.
Environmental crisis. An environmental crisis happens when problems in nature like climate change, pollution, and loss of animals and plants become very serious and affect the whole world. These issues are no longer just local, they've been reached in global level, which means they affect many countries and people. They may urgent action is needed to solve them. The key issues of environmental crisis. First, climate change. It caused mostly by human activities like burning fossil fuels for electricity or transportation. It leads to rising temperatures, stronger storm, and changing weather patterns. Second, pollution. Comes from factories, cars, plastic waste, and even households garbage. It affects air we breathe, and water we drink, and the land we live on. Lastly, biodiversity loss. Means more animals and planet are going extinct when happen, and economic system get weaker and can't support life the way they used to.
So these are the objectives of our topic, environmental crisis. The first one is to explore the origin of manifestation of global environmental crisis, and the second is to analyze the relationship between population growth and environmental issues, and the third one is to evaluate the impact of environmental challenges on sustainability, food security, and development, and the last one is to examine the global policies and the program addressing environmental crisis and assess their effectiveness in the context of globalization.
Origins of environmental crisis. Industrialization. Since the 19th century, rapid industrial growth has significantly increased the emission of greenhouse gases, like factories, vehicles, and energy plants release large amounts of carbon dioxide and other pollutants into the air. For example, the industrial late 1880s led to massive coal burning, darkening city skies, and increasing air pollution, a pattern that continues in many parts of the world today, like industrial cities in China and India. Moving on to deforestation. Widespread clearing of forests for agriculture, urban development, and in industrial use disrupts ecosystems and releases carbon dioxide. A well-known example is the deforestation of the Amazon rainforest. Every year, thousands of square kilometers of trees are cut down for cattle ranching and soy farming, threatening biodiversity and increasing carbon emissions. Lastly, we have the resource depletion. The over-extraction of natural resources puts immense pressure on ecosystems. For instance, overfishing in the world's oceans has led to the collapse of fish populations like Atlantic COD, while excessive groundwater extraction in countries like India has caused water scarcity and affected crop production. So in summary, these factors of industrialization, deforestation, and resource depletion are deeply interconnected and continue to drive the global environmental crisis we face today. Understanding their origins, supported by real-world example, help us grasp the seriousness of these challenges and the need for sustainable solutions.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will discuss the manifestation of environment issues. These are the visible effects of human activities on our environment. They significantly impact our health, safety, and future. Number one is the pollution. Pollution is the one of the most common environmental problems. It includes air, water, and land pollution. For example, in Metro Manila, the Pasig River has long suffered from the industrial and residential waste dumping, making the toxic to aquatic life and unsafe for humans. This shows how pollution damages both ecosystems and public health. And number 2 is global warming. Global warming refers to the rising temperature on Earth atmosphere caused by greenhouse gases emissions. An example of this is the increasing of frequency heat waves in Australia, where the record-breaking temperatures are become more common. This not only affects human comfort but also leads to drought, wildfires, and rising sea levels. And the third one is the desertification. Desertification happens when fertile land turns into desert, often due to unsustainable farming practices and deforestation. A clear example is the Sahel region in Africa, where the overgrazing and poor irrigation have degraded vast areas and farmland, threatening food security and local livelihoods. This example reminds us that environmental issues are not just scientific topics, they are real problems affecting real people. It's to all of us to be more responsible in how we live and use natural resources. Thank you.
Population growth and environmental issues. Increasing population density leads to higher consumption rates, straining resources like water, food, and energy, and exacerbating environmental changes. Resource straining. Increasing population density leads to higher consumption rates. Urbanization. Rapid urban growth results in significant land use changes and inequality impact. Population growth heavily impact poorer community. As the number of people on Earth keep increasing, we start using more and more resources like food, water, and energy. This causes something called resource draining, which means we're using up our natural resources faster than the planet can replace them. More people also means cities grow bigger. This is called urbanization. When cities expand quickly, we lose forests and farmlands. And pollution increases, it changes the way land is used and harm natures. Another problem is that not everyone is affected the same way. Poorer communities often suffer more. They may not have access to clean water, good homes, or health care, and they live in places that are more affected by pollution or floods.
Food security challenges. The intertwined challenges of agricultural stress and climate impact pose significant threats to global food security. The very efforts to boost agricultural output often strain the environment, creating a precarious cycle. Shifting climate patterns further exacerbate these vulnerabilities, jeopardizing crop yields and elevating the risk of famine. Implementing sustainable practices is not merely an option, but a fundamental necessity to ensure food security for all, without compromising the health of our planet.
Good day, everyone. Let me talk about sustainability and development, which focuses on how we can grow economically without harming the environment and future generation. First is Sustainable Development Goals. These are global objectives set by the United Nations to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure prosperity of all. For example, SDG 13 Climate Action calls on countries to reduce carbon emissions and invest in clean energy. And the Philippines, solar energy projects like the one in Nova Ecija support this goal by promoting renewable energy. Second is economic growth versus environment. While economic growth is important, it must be balanced with environmental protection. An example of this conflict is mining operation in Palawan. While they boast the economy, they can harm ecosystem and indigenous lands. This shows why environmental regulations and sustainable practices are essential. And the third is community engagement. Communities play a vital role in achieving sustainability. A great example is the Bantay Dagat in coastal towns where local volunteers help protect marine life from illegal fishing. Their active participation supports both the environment and their fishing-based livelihoods. And the conclusion is, real progress comes from the development that does not sacrifice our planet by supporting the SDGs, being mindful of our economic actions and involving communities, we can build a more sustainable future. Thank you.
Good day everyone. I'll be talking about this slide on the future of globalization, especially how it connects to environmental concerns. These are 3 main points I want to explain. I give a clear example for each one. First is interconnected challenges. Environmental problems like climate change affect the whole world, so countries need to work together to solve them. Example, the Paris Climate Agreement is a great example. More than 190 countries agreed to reduce greenhouse gas emission to slow down the global warming. This shows how nations can be joint forces for a global cause. Second is policy harmonization. It's important for countries to have similar or shared environmental rules so they can fight global problems more effectively. Example, the EU emission trading system is a policy used in European countries. It sets a common limit on carbon emissions and allows the company to trade emission permits. This helps keep things fair and effective across the region. And the last one is innovative solutions. Using new technology and sustainable ideas can help protect the environment while still growing the company. Example, companies like Tesla and BYD are making electric vehicles or EVs. These cars don't use gasoline, which help lower air pollution and fight climate change.
Sections of presentations is highlight the critical role of the governments play in combating environmental challenges. So the first one is on international agreements. So governments engage in global treaties such as the Paris Agreement. So we all know that the Paris Agreement is under the United Nations Framework Conventions on Climate Change, or UNFCCC. It means the goal is to combat the climate change and limit the global warming to collectively address the climate change. So these agreements serves as the framework for nations to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, set environmental goals, and hold each other accountable, such as the collaborating, underscores that the global natures and environmental issues and necessity for the shared responsibility of coordinated actions. The second one is the regulations and incentives. So countries are enacting stricter environmental regulations. This means that the stronger rules and the laws created by the government protect the environment. So this is the example: reduce the pollutions, control the use of the natural gases, prevent the environmental damage, promote the cleaner and safer practices. This is also to minimize and encourage the sustainable development. So these regulations may be involved the limits of emissions, waste management policies, and conservation efforts. So additionally, incentives such as the tax benefit of subsidies are provided to business and individual who adopt the eco-friendly practices. It is promoting a shift and towards sustainable through the economic motivations. The third one is on public awareness campaigns. So educational efforts and advocacy are the essentials in building and widespread awareness about the environmental issues. So public awareness campaigns aim to inform the citizens about the importance of environment. So by doing this, we need to create a global campaign using a social media, TV, radio to reach a wider audience. The impact of the individual behaviors and the steps that can be taken to a personal level. It also increases public engagement, helps build a culture of environmental responsibility, and support the implementations of the government policies.
Summary: the global environmental crisis is a result of decades of unsustainable human activity, including industrialization, deforestation, overconsumption of resources, and pollution. It manifests in various forms such as global warming, air and water pollution, desertification, and ozone layer depletion. These environmental problems are interconnected and threaten the stability of ecosystem and human health. Population growth, intensified environmental stress, by including the demand of food, water, energy, and land. As the global population rises, more waste is generated and natural resources are depleted faster than they can be replenished. This growth directly impacts food security as arable land and fresh water becomes scarce.